Greetings everybody, it's Amy and I'm here just for a quick tip on doing a large embroidery on a layer of quilt fabric for a quilt block. So it's a very dense embroidery design. I want to show you how to properly prep your stabilizer and your design because things are a little problematic with some designs. So let me show you what we got going on here. So this is a Tula Pink menagerie design. It's about 120,000 stitches, so it's incredibly dense. So you can see right here that this is just a single layer of quilt cotton. I believe this is the solids from Free Spirit, which I love. But the problem is I cut my fabric 9 inches for my quilt block, and I realized it wasn't going to fit in my hoop. So to solve that, the first thing is I don't like to float anything, especially if it's very, very dense. And floating, meaning hooping stabilizer and just laying my fabric on top, it'll never work. So I took this is just a cutaway stabilizer scrap I had, so I just stitched it on the sides of my fabric so it was wide enough. Now I had to make a decision on how I prepped my fabric. So about 120,000 stitches. Rule of thumb is a layer of stabilizer for every 25,000 stitches. So technically that's almost 4.5 layers of stabilizer, which is a lot for a quilt block. So there's a couple things I like to do. The first thing I do with my fabric, which I consider layer 1 of my stabilizer, is I spray it with Terrio Magic. I love this stuff. So it's a heavy, heavy starch, but just a light coating. I'm not making anything crunchy. I just want to hold my fibers together. Second layer is, and I love this stuff too. Of course, I love a lot of things. This is the cotton, fusible cotton. So it's like cotton fabric, but it's fusible. And I like the brand from OESD. It comes in these nice big rolls. I can never think of the technical name of it, but it's cotton fuse. Anyhow, this is my first layer stabilizer, and this will stay with my fabric in the quilt. Okay, so that's important to know. And then, so that's layer 2, so that's 50,000 stitches. Tear away, another 50,000. So this is crispy tear away, and again, I use a lot of OESD stabilizers. I love their stabilizers. So when you're pulling away, just gently do 1 layer at a time. Don't be Hulk Hogan and just reach up there and grab everything. Now it'll take some time to get this out of here, but because it's so dense and this stabilizer is so crisp, see how easy it pulled away? And the other thing about paper, it's going to wash away. You don't want to add a lot of weight to your quilt. Once I remove those 2 layers of stabilizer, all I have is my fabric and 1 layer of the Fusible. So I want you to see how there's no buckles or pinches or pulls or puckers anywhere on that embroidery, because here's one thing you need to know: you cannot iron your embroideries into submission. You just can't do it. And there's something you need to know about stabilizers too. Now this paper, the tear away is one thing, it's okay. You're already fusing on that first layer, right? Now I want to show you a project that didn't fare so well. So this is kind of what we had the discussion today at the store, and I thought, well, I'll just show you what's going on. So this is a gorgeous embroidery from Claudia Denau. Claudia Stitches, we love her. It's multiple hooping. It's looks like it's all cross stitch, right? Now, can you see those puckers and all the misery that goes into my beautifully stitched project? Let me tell you what happened. This, on the back, I used a product. It's called Fusible No-Show Mesh. You guys know this product. We sell this product. I'm going to peel it away a little bit. So it is a cutaway stabilizer that's fusible, but it's super lightweight. All the big embroidery companies call for several layers of this, and you know, it does a good job. But here's what we need to know. After I ironed it on, right, and I used a dry iron to iron it on, no big deal. When I was done, it had a few puckers. I thought, well, Amy, Steam fixes everything. So I really could take a dart right here. And this is shame on me, right? It had nothing to do with hoop tightness. It had to do with me not preparing things well. So I took it to the iron and I steamed the bejeebers out of it. Well, guess what happened? The nylon, the mesh that's in here, shrunk. And it made all these puckers. And so I should know better because we see it in the store when customers come in and goes, look, my machine made a mess, it made a mess. So what you need to do with these stabilizers, and this has nothing to do with brand, right? Because we have dime stabilizers, we have OESD stabilizers, we have, you name it, we have stabilizers. So even though this is a fusible mesh, lay it with fusible beads up, take it to your iron, and you're going to hold your iron about an inch above it. You're going to steam it, and you're going to watch it go and crinkle up. Then you can iron on your project. Because if your project comes out wrinkled and you turn around and take it to the iron, and the first thing we do is we steam the daylights out of it, right? And it just shrinks and puckers. So I'm trying to save you a little bit of misery. Pre-shrink. And if you're concerned about cotton tearaways, pre-shrink. Hold the iron an inch above, steam, 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 steam. And all is going to be well with that. But when it comes to pressing embroidery designs, there's one more thing I want to share. Get that out of there because my Tula design is gorgeous. I'm working on the quilt and I'm excited about it. Excuse me for bending over. There we go. So this is a pressing cloth from Oklahoma Embroidery Design. Turn it, turn it, turn it, turn it, keep turning it. There we go. So it is just, let's see, it says press of embroidered fabrics, a whopping $5.99. And what happens is it absorbs the moisture when you are pressing something. So when you put your embroidery on here and press through it, now remember we've pre-prepped our stabilizers so they won't be all crazy, then the steam goes straight through here into the back of your embroidery. So you're getting a fine press no matter which way you go. So when I lay this on here and I press, the first thing I'm going to notice is that the pressing cloth goes on top, by the way, just so you know that. So your iron doesn't get to the steam gets to your project. This absorbs the steam, okay? And it's not going to press your embroideries flat because this has sponge to it, okay? So after you're done pressing, you'll have this gorgeous embroidery because we've, the cotton was already pre-shrunk. We took off the tearaway. So everything is perfect. So it's just a couple simple, easy preps, especially when you're working with a single layer of cotton, how you're going to prep your design. Terrio Magic starch your fabric so it gets a nice crisp layer. A fusible cotton preferably because it's better for the long armor than the poly mesh. And you're going to hold your steam iron above that cotton, right? You're going to hold it above that. You're going to give it a quick steam, let it shrink up a little bit, iron onto your fabric, good. A layer of crisp tearaway for every 25,000 stitches. So mine was 100 plus thousand. I had Terrio Magic, I had the iron on cotton, and I had 2 layers of cotton tearaway. So we really want you to have the best results when it comes to embroidery, especially you got all that work in that quilt and you want those blocks to be perfect. So a little bit of prep time is going to save you from having puckers and wrinkles that will never press out. You can never iron an embroidery design into submission. Trust me, I tried. All right, everybody, back to sewing because the more you know, the more you sew.